I had my kids down in the shop today. We weren't doing any woodworking projects, but instead we were building some bird feeders, real simple ones, to help out our feathered friends make it through the long winter. We have a lot of snow on the ground and they're having a little bit of trouble finding some food. So we had some extra peanut butter and some bird seed. So we're going to go ahead and make some really inexpensive pine cone bird feeders. Here's what you're going to need to do this project. No tools for this project, so let's talk about what you're going to need to make these feeders. First thing you're going to need is some pine cones. We found a couple nice pine cones on our property, and these things will work just fine. If you are looking for a pine cone, you want to try and find some that are a little bit rougher. That way it'll hold the peanut butter and it'll hold more seed. A bag of bird seed. If you have specific types of birds you're looking to feed in your area, you can buy seed specifically for those birds. We just bought a big bag of generic bird seed. We don't know what kind of birds we're going to have, but this stuff will stick really good to our pine cones. You're going to need a knife and some peanut butter. I recommend the creamy peanut butter. The chunky peanut butter doesn't spread as easily, and when you're dealing with little kids, you want to make this as easy as possible. So go with the creamy. I use baling twine. It has a little more of a natural appearance. This is what we're going to use to attach our bird feeders to the trees around our house. Any kind of string or yarn will do, but I prefer the baler's twine, and I had it on hand so it didn't cost me anything. If you're dealing with little guys or little ones, definitely have something to keep the peanut butter and bird seed from getting all over their clothes. A simple shop apron like this will help keep the little guys clean. Plenty of paper towel for cleanup. You're definitely going to get messy on this. This is why I'm down here in the shop doing this project. We set up a work table. If we get it messy, not a big deal. You're also going to need something to cut your baler's twine. I'm going to use just a simple pocket knife. Please remember, if you're working around little kids, maybe you want to have the safety scissors and allow them to do the cutting. And then I have some butcher paper that I'm going to put the pine cones on, as well as the bird seed, and then they can roll that around. If you're doing this inside, I definitely recommend something to keep your tables nice and clean. All right, now that we know what we're going to use, let's get started and I'll show you how to make these simple pine cone bird feeders. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut about 12 to 24 inches of string. We're going to do 3 pine cone bird feeders in this demo, so I need 3 pieces. Next step is attaching your baling twine to your pine cone. With this type of pine cone, I'm going to go from the stem end and I'm going to let them hang down like this. I'm going to just tie a couple overhand knots and I'm going to try and center my string on my pine cone. Then when I go out to the tree or the branch, I'll be able to tie it right to the tree. Don't be afraid to snug these up. Okay, so the next step is we're going to cover this pine cone in peanut butter. Again, I like the creamy. Get the most inexpensive peanut butter you can. It really doesn't make any difference in how the bird seed sticks to your pine cone. What I did with my little guys was I took care of applying the string and the peanut butter, and then I passed it on to them. I had a pile of bird seed on the side, and then they were able to roll the pine cones around in there, and that way it kind of sped up the process. We kind of made a little assembly line, and I think we made about 12 bird feeders in a little under 30 minutes or so. When you're working with your pine cone, don't be afraid to go against the grain of the pine cone, so you really get a lot of the peanut butter down into this part of the pine cone. Don't be afraid to use a lot of peanut butter. The more peanut butter you use, the more bird seed you'll have sticking to your pine cone. And that's about how much you want to have covered. Next step will be rolling them around in the bird seed. Now that we have the peanut butter on our pine cone, it's time to get the seeds on there. I've gone ahead and put a big pile of bird seed on my butcher paper, and this way the kids will have plenty of bird seed to roll around on their pine cone. It's a little bit better to have more rather than less here. And all you really do is take the pine cone and press it down in, and you'll see that the bird seed starts to stick to the peanut butter. So what I did with the little guys is I just gave them a chance to roll it around, and then we came back and we actually picked up the bird seed and kind of pressed it in to the peanut butter, giving the birds plenty of food to help them make it through the long winter ahead. Once you have plenty of birdseed on there, shake off the excess, set it aside. When you have them all complete, we're ready to go outside and hang them up in a tree. Well, here's our completed bird feeder. Really simple project. I know it's not a woodworking project, but I know my kids had a lot of fun coming down to the shop, and it's nice to just kind of break up the routine in the winter time. Hope you enjoyed this really simple project. Give it a try. If you have kids that are looking to do a project in the winter time and help out the wildlife, this is a great one. Stay tuned for more lessons from A-frame woodworking. Take care.